Hi, Vanessa. How you
Hey Joe,
doing?
how are you? I'm great, my
I'm
darling. How are you?
I'm really good, thanks. Hold on, let me flip to that mode. There we go. There we go. So we're recording. So lovely to see you.
And to you, my lovely. Always a smiley face. Thank you for asking me to join you. I was like, absolutely yes, no brainer. I'll join you.
Oh, well, if ever we need more Vanessa, Louise Moore in our life, more of Miss Moore, um, we do now. We do now because
Mm,
I know how you work and I know your message. So thank you
that's
so much for
me.
joining us.
That's my
We're going
pleasure.
to come on to a very important topic first, which we were discussing before we went on record. But let's just give you a quick intro. So, Vanessa, you are helping humanity to get naked,
Mm,
to come together for an emerging future.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, wow.
Just,
So most people have a tagline like, "Yeah, I'm helping people to feel better about their lives." You're like on the humanity. You're on the emerging future. She's on
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. And that's all just happened organically, which I'm sure we'll talk about. I know we're both on the similar journey and same journey, have the same vision for ourselves and our lives and everybody in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So good.
absolutely. Well, obviously, so people can go to your website, which is nspirit.global.
No, that's the platform I write for with Beju.
Ah, that's your mutual
Beju
one. So,
Solanki. Yeah. So
ah, of
at the
course.
moment, yeah, we've got a website being built at the moment. So it's really social media where people can find me. But On
Okay.
Spirit Global is a gorgeous platform that Beju Solanki is the
Ah,
co-founder, or
wonderful.
the founder of, and that, yeah. So,
Wonderful, wonderful. It's also interlinked, isn't it, like because Andrew Priestley was meant to be on yesterday, but
mm.
he's on now tomorrow instead. Um, but but he was going to do a show for Beju last week. So we're all just
Oh,
linked
really?
up, aren't we? We're all just one big
I think that's
family.
I think that's evident of those of us that as we talked about, have the same vision for humanity, effectively, isn't it? For
Yeah.
ourselves, our communities, our loved ones, and the wider world. And I think when we are all on, to use the phrase, on the same page, you are naturally all going to collaborate, come together, migrate towards each other, be attracted to. And I'm amazed actually daily when I reach out with people on, especially now as we're doing virtually with the world as it is, you reach out and you connect with people, and then you find out they're connected to so and so and so and so, and you're like, oh my gosh, it really is such a small world. But I think it's, as you're saying, it's evident of everybody wanting to create and co-create an emerging future. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. But first of all, I just should have introduced the show. So this is my Amijo show. Welcome to it, and anyone who's watching, thank you for tuning in. This has been on my to-do list for, goodness me, 18 months. So if we don't do it now, when the hell are we going to do it, right?
I love that.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
so
If you needed a
I,
kick up the backseat, then this was it.
it all helps us. And I think also we're all out of our comfort zone already right now. So why not push ourselves that teeny weeny bit more and do this really out of our comfort zone stuff? And there's a whole, just anything that we think, oh gosh, well, why don't I just do it? Now's the time. Make the most of this time.
Absolutely. And I think, like you say, when you are actually out of your comfort zone, there's almost kind of like, well, if it's not as bad as I thought it was, I'll just keep going. And I think you just keep pressing the button or put your foot down or whatever it might be. And that's where I think we're learning so much more about ourselves, because actually we're all in the same boat. So, I think naturally people are finding themselves more accepting, more compassionate, more forgiving. So if we're fearful of being out of our comfort zone because of what people are going to think about us or say about us, then actually that's actually gone out the window, because I'm finding lots of people are being so much more accepting anyway of themselves and of others.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And we can be quite easy to criticize ourselves
Mm.
and judge, and we don't do this. This so The brilliant David Nagel has called this a time for a pause, and I love that phrase because like a pause button on anything, you just think actually it is momentary. It feels like this is going to be quite a long journey for us, but
Mm.
it is momentary. But we can. So just tell me firstly what's happening for you right now, because it's always nice to hear your challenges and what's happening for
Yeah.
you with this situation in day 2 of day 21.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I think where I am right now is, I was just saying to some friends and colleagues earlier on a call, is I've questioned myself over the last week or so as the outside frenzy has become more apparent. I've questioned myself as, should I be worrying about the fact that I'm not worrying? And that is being something that
Love
has
it.
come to me in meditations and things like that. And I thought, actually, no, Vanessa, when I asked myself that question, should I be worrying about not worrying? Don't get me wrong. I'm recognizing what this outside frenzy is bringing up in me. I'm aware of that. That's what my work and the message that I share, this is what it's all about. But actually, the more I sit with it, the more I meditate with it, the answer I get when I ask, should I be worrying about not worrying, is no. Because in actual fact, all the work you've done over the years, and that you continue to do on yourself day in, day out, and that you support and guide and walk with others on the same journey, it's prepared you for this very moment. So yeah, I don't have the answers. I don't know how long or where or how it's all going to play out. But what I do know is that this practice, this work that I call naked, is very much holding me in a place where I'm able to be present to the pause, to the moment, because in actual fact, oh, we've got a guest. I'm able to.
She was not meant to be around. She was meant to be with
Not
my
at
girls, but
all.
look, she's come to be the star of the show.
She's been brought in. She's been
my,
attracted by the
my
energy. Love
third
her.
baby. Yeah, you sit there, honey.
Yeah, no, it's about I'm helping myself and understanding that all the work I've done on myself, and the lessons I've learned and the experience I've had has really helped me, has prepared me for this very moment in time. So that's what came to me when I said, should I be worrying about not worrying? Actually, no, because that's what this work is all about, which I know that you appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely. And the trouble is, once we start going down the worry and the fear route, I think it's more contagious than love. But, you know, sadly, I think it's
Yeah,
easier to spread fear. I think we respond to fear quicker because we know, you know, a lot of us know how that feels and jump on it quicker. But
yeah,
also, you know, you have a beautiful message, what you offer and how you work, which we'll come on to in a second. But if you're in a place of worry and fear, then it's much more of a challenge for you to then come
yeah.
out with it, isn't it? And help others, because which I'm sure you're doing in bucket loads right now.
Well, I think that's my absolute guru in this world, Dr. Joe Dispenza, talks about evidence being the loudest voice, right? And in my experience, and I know that we've spoken about this in the past, when you are some sort of mentor or coach or leader or influencer or game changer, whatever that might be, and we all have the potential to be that, but those of us who've chosen it, or in my case have had it chosen for me as a vocation in life, I think it's very easy to talk a good game. It's very easy to share knowledge. But what I found that I have been turned on most by over the years is those that break those boundaries and do and walk the talk, and actually are the example and live it. Whether I've experienced that, the first leader I ever came across was my dad. He always did the do. You know, he walked his talk. You know, he demonstrated what he spoke about. And then, you know, in latter years with the mentors that I've had, I've always picked people that have actually done what they say they're doing, and it's not evident that they're just teaching from a textbook. And sadly, I think there are so many people out there that do that. And you can train to be a coach, and you can train to be a mentor, whatever it might be, and there are some brilliant people out there doing beautiful jobs. But for me, it's my work is only valuable if I'm actually doing the work myself. And thankfully, the people I work with are either recommendation or have found me online, or you know, I'm a friend of a friend or whatever it might be, or they've come into contact with me and they can actually see that I've been there, I'm doing it, and I continue to do it. And it's not about follow me, it's about how can we all do this together. I use the analogy of ring of roses. Do you remember playing that when you were a kid, and
Yeah.
everybody's in a circle holding hands and playing together? That for me is what this has always been about. It's always been about, you know, how can we unite, how can we move forward together. And one of my girlfriends once said to me, we're all walking each other home. And I just love that, whether it's home as in, you know, coming back to ourselves, but it's just how can we all just be frontline together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest message it feels on an energetic point of what is happening right now, is that this is our time to realize we are all connected. You know, we are literally, every single person on this planet is connected, and that is what this virus is showing us. And we can only, therefore, to succeed as a race, we can only therefore work with each other, and we have to. And it's interesting, you know, if you think about all the times of turmoil and fighting between nations, suddenly we have a common purpose, and we're all having to, you know, the heads of states of countries are having to talk to each other and try and support each other instead of fighting with each other. I mean, you know, I totally am with you. So I am in your, you know, I'm not worried, but should I be category? But I think actually when you can just, when you can tune into that and allow this to be part of our journeys right now in this year that we're in, and allow it to exist, and just like you say, do what you can to support around you, support yourself first, but support others around you. And it's, in some ways it's going to be horrendous, that, you know, for sure, and I'm not downplaying it, and I know you aren't either. But in a way, it's kind of a fascinating time, because, you know, but the lovely thing is that we can connect. We can, you know, on Tuesday next week, I've got a guy from Florida, an amazing entrepreneur. I've got a call with him. He's going to give us an update about America. We can do this stuff. We can all come together that little bit more, you know, solidly, just to sort of, you know, to help each other realize actually we can reach out. So yeah, no, I love that. I love that. And so just tell us a little bit, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, carry on. That's fine.
So, because obviously you're just quickly just tell us a little bit about your work specifically, just in case people are hearing this and they want some support from you right now.
Yeah, Naked is the concept that I'm sharing as best I can in the way I live my life, because for as long as I could remember, I was having what I call the naked dream. I don't know if you've ever had it, where I would wake up in my dream. I would be caught in our local high street with no clothes on, and I couldn't cover myself up. You know, you just want to be a bloke, isn't it? And you could just cover yourself up. And I would be experiencing my people I knew in my dream, in my local high street, pointing their finger at me and laughing, and I felt humiliated and ashamed and all of this, as you would, and I've struggled through my younger years and into my adulthood. I struggled with my weight, so I thought that naked dream was about me being not having any body confidence. And then when I managed to turn my life around back then, where the transformation I went through then, and I lost about 6 stone in weight after having my son, I was still having the dream. And I thought to myself, hold on a minute, I'm now the slimmest I've ever been, I'm now the fittest I've ever been, I'm now enjoying my body and I'm enjoying my life. Why am I still having this naked dream? And of course, whenever you ask a question, if you're brave enough and courageous enough to sit and wait for the answer, it will be there. And it was just very much like, okay, I get it. I was absolutely petrified of showing up as my true self. It had nothing to do about my body. So that was that was about 4 or 5 years ago. So I just sat with the concept of naked and what actually does that mean to me? And it's really a consciousness and it's a mindset of how I can strip back the stories that I believe to be true about myself. I'm unlovable, I'm useless, it's not safe to be me, all this stuff that I've lived with over the years that really contributed to a very turbulent inner conflict with myself, and then obviously that then contributed to the life that I lived. And it's about stripping back those stories and learning to connect with and reveal who I truly am at the core. And I was doing some work with the Course in Miracles a couple of years ago, and there was a quote that I came across that I absolutely just resonated with me, and I did some work on it, and that was, you believe in the insanity because you created it, but you do not believe in love because you did not. And that made me really sit up and think, right, okay, this is about now really recognizing who I am at the core, and understanding that the insanity I'm making up about myself, my ego mind, where I overthink, my conscious stuff, is just all rubbish. It's not true. This is what's true. But then how do I connect my thinking with my heart to be able to have that coherence within the two? That means I'm sending out the right signal, the truest signal for me, which is then what I am attracting back into my life. So I can show up naked, metaphorically naked, and physically. And naked really turned out, I worked out for me then, was physically strong, mentally sound, spiritually connected, and emotionally expressive. So I just worked on each of those 4 pillars to be able to understand myself better, the world I had created around me, how I could transform that, what was it that I truly wanted to experience in my world, and then also recognizing that if there was anything, any impact, any change, any difference I was going to make in the outside world, I knew it had to come from me first. So I had to strip back those stories and show up in my life as me, with confidence, purpose, and joy. And I do that as best I can. And I just try and do it with as much fun and integrity as I possibly can. And that, in a nutshell, is really what Naked is about. And now it's about asking and inviting those who, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, I could really do with transforming my own life. Can I join you? Is about creating that space where we can all live from that inner truth. And then once we do that, the space, then we enable what is needed for our future world. And my gosh, aren't we being demonstrated that that is so necessary right now? What emerges from that, what comes from that unknown, and that's what we can do collectively together. But we have to be naked in mindset and consciousness to be able to do that.
No, that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I totally think that we are in a reset place, and there will be so much that is coming up for people, that they will be having to look at their careers, look at their lifestyle choices. You know, we're being stripped down to nakedness, aren't we, right now? Because we're having to get, my analogy is it's like we've all gone camping in our own homes. We have very little resources. We have what's in the cupboards. I mean, we can go shopping, but only when we need to. We can't go out anywhere. There's nowhere really to go, got no one else to see. So it is having that resourcefulness, isn't it? To go, well, actually, what am I? What are my choices? And I think that the planet now, the planet now and the planet this time next year, and humanity. Well, and I hope actually this is true in some ways anyway, that we will have had a big shift to something different.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and I think you're so right. It's like there's something, a higher energy, a bigger intention, greater intention out there that's saying, you know what, if you're not going to do it for yourself, then I'm gonna back you into this corner, so that really the only choice that you have is to go within. So that we have created a world and an environment for ourselves where it's very much about what can I do and have and attract from the outside to make myself feel better. Whereas the world right now is just saying, I'm going to take all of that away from you. So you are forced and encouraged to look inside you and know that the only way you are ever going to fill up that void that is within you is not going to be with sex, drugs, rock and roll, exercise, shopping, other people, all the rest of it, whatever your dependency is. And everybody has one, whether it's busyness or like I say, there's many dependencies out there that we use to control, to fill that void within. And really the only way it's ever going to be filled up is by connecting with our truest self. And connecting with ourselves. And the separation comes because we just don't fully appreciate that exists here and in the now. And only when we recognize that and do something about it will we experience that change within ourselves, our communities, and then the wider world. We just got it the wrong way round. We think that we can change it from the outside and then we'll feel better here. No, we only feel better here first. And the problem is that, you know, the challenge that I'm experiencing is that people are addicted to themselves. They're addicted to their past. They're addicted to feeling the low vibe, the limiting emotions of shame and guilt and anger and frustration and all the stuff that really makes you feel crappy and unlovely. Is that, you know, we recognize that to be us. That's what we identify ourselves as. You know, that feels familiar. No, that's just, yeah, it might feel familiar, but it's not who you are. And of course, now where we've been thrown into this flux and this black hole of unknown and change, it's like, what do I do now? I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. So that's why this is so important for people that perhaps have experienced some sort of transformation in themselves before, to be able to share what was that experience, how did you do that. So, you know, very much like what you're doing in the world is you're helping people to, you know, to get that transformation is within their own control, and, you know, to be able to share their experiences with others, so it makes it, people understand that they can do it for themselves. And like, because I just think it's the image I have is Thelma and Louise, you know, where they're driving off the cliff together. I'll go if you go. You know, people don't want to do it on their own, you know. Yeah. And I get shivers every time I think about that image. And I think our role as for those of us that have experienced immense transformation and come out the other side, and let's just be really clear, you don't ever do it once. It's an occurring thing. You just get better at it, and it just becomes less uncomfortable, but it's ever more necessary. And, you know, for those of us who have squeezed ourselves out of the cocoon before and continue to do it, it's very much saying, come on, it's actually not as bad as you think. But if you keep resisting it, it will be painful, and it doesn't have to be. And I think that's our message is, you know, come on, join us, because we can all drive off the cliff together. And you know what, when we do, whoosh, there are our wings. We don't crash. We are not going to crash, but you will stay limited, and you will keep crashing up against the same barriers if you continue to deny that this is the inevitable choice right now. So yeah, let's be visible, and let's share. Nobody's got all the answers. I don't believe that's true, but I do believe that it's true if we can stay true to us and listen to what we're feeling. Then I think that, yeah, absolutely, we can all come together, unite, and create a much better future for ourselves, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it is a time, and people are really starting to realize that there's certain friends and certain family that are trying to leach out their energy, and I think we need to be mindful of who we speak to and the messages we engage with, because we do need to really kind of connect with ourselves and really be true to what our intuition is saying to us, you know, what our soul is saying to us. And go on our own journey right now, because everyone is going to go through a phenomenally different experience over the next few months, but it's important to recognize what that is, and then you know, really tune into that. Fantastic. So thank you so much. We just come up to our time, because I want to try and keep these a little bit short, because there's a lot of online internet content now. But this has been such a great chat. Always love chatting to you. Always. And thank you so much. And I wish you lots of health and wellness for your family right now.
And to you, my darling. Well done for doing what you're doing, bringing people together, and because it's good to see you, even if it is only on screen to screen. It's good to see your face.
Well, we know that it's all connected anyway, don't we? So it's all we're all energy. We're all just energy. So okay, well, thank you so much, and I hope you've enjoyed this. You've been tuning in. I'm going to put this on obviously a few channels now, so hopefully people will watch this, and this will get momentum over the next few weeks. But I'm going to save these two so that they can be shared and engaged with. So yeah, okay, thank you so much, Vanessa. Take care, you too. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.